What's going on, guys? So I have Project Naosis episode 3. So we're gonna finish out this book here. So let's just get right on into it. If you haven't noticed, I've been really enjoying the series so far, and I will say that it has not changed with this. So we pick up where we left off. Vega's fighting Vantage. And Hybrid's over here. He's getting himself ready. He's getting himself pumped up. He's like, hey, Vega really needs me. I need to get in on this. Just in time, because Vantage blasts Vega away. And now it's just Hybrid and Vantage. And they're having an exchange. Basically, Vantage is saying, hey, you're an enhanced. You should be joining us. You should be fighting with Crimson Pain, not against him, for which Hybrid he's not having that shit. It pisses him off. He's like, no, I'm going to beat the shit out of you. I'm going to take you all out. You guys are scum. You're villains. You're the worst. And puts Vantage down into his place. By this point, Vantage is able to recover. Same with Vega up here. So Vega and Vantage both recover. Vantage is able to call in for backup, and that puts these two, Vega and Hybrid, in a lot of trouble. So at this point, Hybrid's like, hey, call in the backup, and this is when Vega finally reveals that she hasn't called for backup because Omega never knew that they were on this mission to begin with. So Hybrid's like, oh, you fucking lied, you bitch. And also, Vantage is able to escape during this time while the two are preoccupied with the, I believe, a couple hundred soldiers. So we go back to earlier, and we catch up with Thorn, Lithium, and Hellkate. And as we see, Hellkate does actually get she does not die. That's what I called. And again, I knew it at the time that I recorded this that she was going to survive, but I was still when I first read the issue, I'm like, she didn't die. So, and also here, Hellkate is more or less just confirming in front of Thorn, those two are in a relationship, her and Lithium, and he's like, see, you guys could share it with your best bud here, Gotta say, Thorn has become one of my absolute favorite characters in this series so far. Dude just wants to kill shit and smoke weed, and good for him. But he does seem to have a focus when it's time for missions, and it does look as though Omega really trusts him, so I do appreciate him. So at this point, Omega joins them and says, hey, we got to go bail out the other two, get in, and they were also informed that the world is now aware of other enhanced individuals such as themselves because of the failures of Vega and Hybrid. So off they go, and Vega and Hybrid, they're all pinned down, and then suddenly just everybody's getting their heads lost and everything, and it's like, oh, it's Thorn. He's doing what he does best. He goes out there just teabagging all the enemies and, making them look fucking foolish. And then we get a nice little action shot here of everybody joining in on the fight. And then they just start taking care of business. There's a little bit of dialogue here. More or less, Hybrid's like, hey, Omega, I had no idea, and Omega's like, okay, we'll worry about that after we take care of this. First, let's just survive. Let's kill all these guys and be on our way. So, nice little spread. Everybody just cleaning house. All the people dying. All the bad guys dying. Okay, and then we have mission time, or assessment time here, and Vega is, saying, hey, I'm sorry for betraying you, I didn't think it was going to be like this bad, the prime minister, president, whatever. She's the one that did this, and Omega's like, yeah, well, we'll deal with her too after we get this all sorted. But first, we need to go get Vandage. Go track him down. Can't just let him get away. We got to bring him in for questioning. And here is the part right here where I was talking in the previous review that I did, where Thorn calls Lithium Junior Captain. It's right there. And that kind of plays more into my theory as to one of these two potentially dying. So we have we split into factions. We have Hellkate and Omega taking motorcycles, going without costumes to kind of be a little bit more blended in now that the world is aware of them, and they're tracking down the truck. And Omega jumps onto the back of the truck, and Hellkate takes control and lets him know. Omega is checking out the cargo area and says, hey, there's nothing back here but a robot. And that's when Vega and Hybrid are like, that's Vantage. He's quick to get all armored up. And Vantage is like, I'm fully charged. Let's fucking go. And immediately just starts blasting away. And we see he gets blasted out, and some poor bystander he's fucking lost like half of his face right there. That dude is likely dead. And being that he just looks like some bystander, yeah, I'm gonna say that dude's dead. And these two have it out. And Omega's communicating with the rest of his team and says, hey, this guy's pretty tough. We're going to have to also be on our wits here. So we're going to try a flanking maneuver and signals, for everybody to be in position. So he's keeping them busy. He's fighting them. They're trading blows, doing all that. Some good action scenes here. And then we got Vantage doing his best Sidious impression with unlimited power! And he starts just fucking killing innocent bystanders. And Omega's not having that shit. He comes over and gets him a good hit after Hybrid smacks him from up above. Yeah, so we're trying to protect the people. That's good stuff. And then the rest of the team gets in on it. So Vega, Thorn, and Lithium all get in on it too, before Hellkate gets to light them up with some fire. And that's when the whole team gets to kind of says, okay, well, you're coming with us. And that is the end of issue or episode 3. So yeah, some good stuff right here. I can't say exactly which issue it was that really hooked me in with Project Naosis, but this has been done very good. I'm very happy with what I'm reading. So I just want to kind of touch on some theories. And again, I noted in the previous review, but I'm just going to reiterate it. Omega or Lithium are certainly going to die. One of them is going to die. And at this time, I do not know. I will say up to this point, I have seen a fight between those two and Crimson Pain. And I don't know the full-on outcome of that. So I predict one of them will die, especially against Crimson Pain. I just think that is definitely going to happen, and we are going to see some sort of ramifications from there. This team is going to change. That is my prediction. I'm kind of leaning more towards Lithium going to be the surviving brother, and he is going to take over as a leader. But I can honestly see either one of these two dying. I don't think both of them will die. I think, though, that is going to be our heavy-hitting issue here. And so some of the things I just wanted to highlight, I already talked about this briefly, but Thorn has just become probably my favorite character in this. It used to be Prince Hero. But the more I've read, the more I'm just like, Thorn is fantastic. The absolute glee for carnage that he has, and just all out disrespecting his enemies. But he has such a value on his friends. So like, if one of those two brothers dies, I definitely think Thorn is going to be very affected by this. I think we are going to see a level of rage come out of him that we haven't seen before, beyond just the two brother one, the surviving brother also having an extreme amount of rage. Um, and Vantage, he's a great villain. I really like him. Um, he is very powerful. It took an entire team, the whole Project Naosis team, to bring him down. Except for Prince Hero, and it's it is kind of unfortunate that it will likely be the end of him, as we saw with Rifter. Project Naosis does not take prisoners for very long, so they'll probably get whatever information they need out of them and dispose of them. But I will say that Paul Thayer has been doing a great job with some intimidating villains, both with Rifter and Vantage now up to this point. Not to mention Crimson Pain has been fantastic. And so some of the things that I felt just a little bit tismy, the point in time where Hellkate and Omega are on the motorcycles and they're talking back and forth with one another. Let me get to that page real quick. Yep, right here. They seem to be just talking normal. But we are led to believe, okay, they're probably communicating, but they're talking about the whole thing with Vega, betraying them. And it's like, well, if you don't care if the rest of the team is hearing in on this, why not just address that and be done with it there? Or if they are just trying to have the private conversation, because Hellkate is Omega's most trusted team member, why not just have them shouting and stuff? And it's kind of nitpicky, and I'll be, I'm happy to admit that. That is at least my suspicion, is that it's supposed to be between just the two of them and not the rest of the team, so the communication would be off. And so maybe just kind of capitalize little letters to let us know they're yelling back and forth to one another, because I doubt that these motorcycles are quiet. And I also talked about when Vantage blows up that truck, or has that moment. We get this poor guy. It's not exactly clear as who he is. I don't see him in any previous panels. At this point, I just kind of think he's a bystander, and I have no idea who he is. But I spent a lot of time just trying to figure that out. I was like, who the hell is this guy? Who's the poor soul that's getting half of his face? And at one point, I think I thought it was Lithium, but that didn't make sense to me. So, I guess just a little bit of clarity on that one, just show some poor bastard about to get blown up. Again, this is really nitpicky shit. So, I gotta say, if this is what I'm having the biggest issue with, we're doing something good. And I'm going to let that reflect on the overall score that I'm going to give this one. And I'm giving this one a 10 out of 10. Like I said, my issues are nitpicky at best. And I'm really invested with the characters at this point. The villains are great. Again, Crimson Pain is somebody who he has the reasons for why he's doing what he's doing, but he's not a dick to those who follow him. And so you can understand why people would follow him. I'm not going to not stress that enough. I love a villain who actually cares about those who support him, follow him. Those are at least make sense as to why people would want to do that. And we see with Vantage that he's trying to get Hybrid to join the side. Come on, I can understand why people care that much to be on that side of things. Even if they have despicable things that they're doing, like killing bystanders and stuff like that. I do like the villains. I really like the team. There's really not a team member that I don't like as far as those in Project Naosis. I have my favorite with Thorn and, Prince Hero's still up there, but every team member on here I very much enjoy. And I don't feel like it's a dull moment when we spend any time with any particular character. So we have some good, strong characters, and I do dread what's coming with the confrontation. Again, and I've already seen part of this at this point. It's not fully revealed what all has happened. But I do dread the final outcome with the confrontation of Crimson Pain. So, yeah, this is a 10 out of 10 book for me. I would fully recommend any of this. I would say, as far as who this book might be appropriate for, we got blood and gore. You saw a little bit of that. So you're teen, but parents should, use their own discretion. If you feel that your child is good enough to read this, go right ahead. There is no nudity up to this point. So really, it's just a matter of blood and gore and violence that you feel may or may not be appropriate for your child. But yeah, superhero team-ups, violence, people who aren't squeamish to, not too squeamish for blood, this is definitely something I would recommend for you guys. So, but that is all I have for today, guys. So until next time, take care and God bless.